Okay, so another big gift that I got for Christmas was Battlefield 4. Normally I get Call of Duty around Christmas time. That's kind of been a recurring thing, is that I review the Call of Duty game that comes out. But after Black Ops 2, I was just so fed up with the Call of Duty franchise that I'm not even interested in Ghosts. And apparently I'm not the only one, because Ghost sales have been abysmally bad. Now technically I didn't buy Battlefield 4 either, it was a Christmas gift. Honestly, I wouldn't have even considered playing this game, considering my only Battlefield experience was Bad Company 2. And while I did like it and thought it was a very good, very balanced game, it wasn't really enough to justify my interest in the series. But my experience with Bad Company 2 was a very good one. It had a story that I was interested in, characters that, while they were written kind of not that great, were likable enough and interacted with each other well enough, and a multiplayer that was honestly a very balanced experience compared to the Call of Duty franchise. You could tell that DICE really cared about this game and really wanted to make it the best it possibly could. And with every problem that was wrong with it, DICE was constantly putting patches out for it. I heard people praise Bad Company 2 out the wazoo about how well DICE managed it. And then Electronic Arts happened. Man, how many gaming franchises do you think have been ruined by that one sentence alone? Specifically, the last Medal of Honor game did not sell very well at all, and EA finally decided to put the long-standing franchise out of its misery for good. So Battlefield is now essentially their sole war series, meaning that we're going to start getting Battlefield games year after year, much like the same as Call of Duty. Already, it's starting to show. Battlefield 4 was released basically half finished. It's like DICE basically took a hatchet to the game and cut major story elements, gameplay elements, and various know-hows out of it to essentially get it ready and out the door in time. Even now, a good 3 months after its release date, there are still numerous problems with the online multiplayer and even the single player. DICE and EA have both issued statements on it, but the fact remains is that neither company really seems to care about what's going on, and they're really just trying to placate the people who are complaining about it, not addressing the core complaints at all. What was my experience with Battlefield 4? It's iffy. Half the time it felt like I was an enjoyable experience playing a typical war shooter, while the other half was like I was constantly struggling against a buggy, glitching mess. Right out of the gate, I had big problems with the game with the fact that it was on 2 discs. Now, before you get on me, it's not the fact that it was on 2 discs, but when you put in the first disc, like disc 1, and it tells you that in order to play the story you have to transfer over to disc 2, already I'm kind of starting to wonder why the hell is the story on the second disc? Usually it should be the other way around. And this caused problems the first night because it was constantly telling me to switch discs. I switched discs about 4 different times before I finally got the story to boot up. Did you implement any kind of code into the game where you can just figure out which disc it's playing and which disc you need to use the story on its own? Did it really need to have several different tries? The story is cut and paste basically from the major Call of Duty games as well as a bit from Bad Company 2. There's not a single original idea in this game. It's mostly just America is going to war with China. Again. Why is it always China we're going to war with now? I mean, the Russians get their fair share of it too, but it's always China. It's like Russia and China are suddenly the ones we want to throw all our darts at. Even though a war in real life is never going to happen because us 3 countries depend on each other economically far too much. If either one of us ever went to war with each other, the entire global economy would completely collapse. So it's never going to happen. I guess these games just do it as a form of wish fulfillment, but it doesn't really make any sense for them to do so. As for the characters, you've got Rucker, who is your character, who never says a word, yet everybody understands what he's thinking, as usual. You got Pac, whose only distinguishing characteristic is that he's the rookie. And you've got Irish, who despite his name, is not from Ireland and doesn't have an Irish accent, whose main distinguishing characteristic is that he cares a lot about civilians, and I think he's kind of slowly starting to go insane. I don't know, that's just kind of what I got from his character. It's filled with your typical secret agent characters, backstabbers, squad leader that was lost in the game's prologue, carriers that get under attack, EMPs, nukes, you know. If you've played any major war game since Call of Duty 4, you know the plot. You know what's going to happen. This game really doesn't offer anything new in regards to that. In fact, it actually kind of harkens back more towards Black Ops 2 with like the specific person and whatnot. The weapons are kind of weak. I mean, it feels like I'm taking like a whole clip just to kill one guy. The best weapon I have found so far in my travels was the M4, which can down a guy in about 1 or 2 bursts. And it's a great weapon if you can stand how piss poor the iron sights are. Like, I'm amazed I can see anything through those things. The submachine guns are okay, but they burn through ammo wicked fast. I have not had a single chance to use an LMG once, and the sniper rifles are so amazingly weak, I don't even know why they're an option. Weirdly enough, the shotguns are the best weapons to use. They have decent enough range, they have fantastic power, they can pretty much one-shot a guy from half a room away. Difficulty doesn't seem to matter that much. If you're playing on the hardest difficulty, enemies can down you in about 2 to 3 hits, and if you're playing on easy difficulty, enemies can down you in about 2 to 3 hits. Or at least that's what I've encountered so far. So really, difficulty doesn't seem to matter at all, really. A big problem that I have is that I can never really tell where I'm being shot from. The targeting system is not as good as it was in Bad Company 2, or at least it doesn't work nearly as well, or it's just kind of weird. Of course, I'm mostly bouncing off the prison mission where you don't really have your target finder, you basically just click the button and it hope you find what you're looking for. Remember the simple days where you could just press the select button and it would just challenge people? Now you gotta zoom around the room with it holding the left bumper and just trying to figure out where all the enemies are. There was one part in like the third mission when you're on the ship and you're trying to attack the enemies in front of you, but there's something blowing you up from the left. I can't figure out where the fuck it is because I can't see the damn thing. If it's a rocket launcher, I can't see. If it's a guy with an RPG, I can't see him. So I'm just constantly getting like shrapnel damage in my side, getting attacked by somebody who can hit me despite the fact that I'm behind cover, and I can't do a damn thing to him because I don't know where the hell he's shooting me from. One part that stood out to me early on was this part where you had to take out these 2 tanks. It's like in the second mission. You basically, because you're not given a rocket launcher, or at least I didn't find one. What you basically have to do is you have to lay down these like landmines and these devices that will basically blow the tank up for you. Seems simple enough. The problem is that the tanks drive in such an erratic, unpredictable pattern that there is no discernible way to tell if they're going to come for your trap or if they're just going to go down a completely different route. I spent 20 goddamn minutes chasing this tank around, laying down the booby traps, trying to get it to turn around and come after me. To no avail. When I finally did get that tank to come out, surprise, surprise, another tank shows up, and it's another friggin' chase down. By the time the second tank had blown me up for the 5th time in a row, I gave up and didn't play the game for another 2 weeks. 2 weeks! Because this system is so piss poorly designed that I couldn't even take out a damn tank because I couldn't predict the way it was going to move. Why couldn't I have an RPG? Anyone? It would have made it a hell of a lot more simpler. I'm just saying. There's one mission that really grinds my gears where you're in a prison and you're basically given this Viktor Reznov kind of character named Dima. This dude who's got like, I guess radiation poisoning or something like that. I guess they need to have like your Russian ally, I put in air quotes, but it doesn't really do anything because he dies at the end of that mission anyway. You probably wouldn't even know his name if you didn't read the text. Maybe this is just the cynical critic in me, but I'm just really unimpressed with this game. And I think a lot of people are too, considering the amount of complaints it comes out. But it's not even mostly the fact that of the glitches and things, which is a problem, but it's just that the game feels so uninspired. And it might just be because at this stage in our lives, we've seen this story already. Gone are the days where Call of Duty 4 could surprise us by dropping a nuke in the middle of the city, you know? We've seen this plot 1,000 times by now. And apparently the companies have run out of good ideas. They're not trying to shock us anymore. They're just putting it out because they know people are going to want to play it. But already we're starting to see that people are just not being satisfied anymore. Ghost sales aren't doing very well, and Battlefield 4 is getting hammered. So where does it end? At what point do people just finally say enough is enough? Do we go back to the World War II shooters, or do we just end it for good? I don't know. But really, this whole experience is just a testament to how bad EA has gotten. How many game franchises do you think EA has systematically destroyed over the years? I can think of a few off the top of my head. Battlefield, Medal of Honor, Dead Space, Ultima. EA may not be the worst overall company in the world. I would never push it that far, but in terms of gaming developing companies, it's pretty high up there. If the CEOs of EA and Activision got into a boxing ring and were forced to duke it out, everybody who was watching would just feel really awkward because they wouldn't be able to root for either side, because both companies are assholes. If either company went bankrupt tomorrow, the world probably wouldn't miss them that well. In fact, a more deserving company would probably come and take their place. So Battlefield 4, it's fun at times, but it's nothing special, and the amount of problems it has with it, it's really just not worthy. I actually am not entirely finished yet. I'm still in the gulag. The reason being is because the game actually froze on me during the big shootout scene, And I just haven't gotten a chance to play it yet because I was just like, okay, I've played enough today. Bye-bye. Watch it erase my save file because I've heard that's actually happened. Like, people have lost their save files, which is another huge problem. And if that happens to me, then I'm just going to give up on the game entirely. There's no point. I'm not even going to bother trying to get back to where I was. So yeah, Battlefield 4, if you're going to play it, I'd wait until they patch the major issues, if they ever do. But it's not a fun game. Well, it is a fun... It's okay. It's okay. It's below average, really. It's D-worthy. Yeah, D-worthy. And yeah, that's that. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, a favorite, subscribe to the channel, post it on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Google+, Reddit, something awful, spray paint on buildings, make a flag of it, get it tattooed in your forearm, get it branded into your forehead. This is SickSlickProductions saying keep the spirit of the movies alive.